episode. Glad you're here. Now, guys, I realized I went through my video content, the ones that I've been posting, and I realized most of it has been about Musa. I'm obsessed. Well, in truth, you can't really deny Musa. Not talk about the Quran and not talk about Musa because he populates most of the Quran. By far, his story is mentioned more than anyone else. So, but I thought I'd change it up a little bit and give you guys. Hopefully, I'm going to try concentrating on other prophets slowly but surely as well, and giving you guys my understanding of that. By no means does this mean I've finished on Musa, because I haven't shown you anything yet. I mean, what I gave to you about the Quran being delivered to Musa, that's only the small portion of it. I've got a lot of supporting evidence for that I still have to give you guys, and also at the same time, I can show you guys that Musa actually received a revelation about future events that are going to be happening. Also, the servant on the boat, I haven't spoken about that in Surah Kaf. So there's still a lot I have to cover on Musa. However, I think I should change it up and speak about other prophets and other people. Now, the first character that I want to speak about and go into detail about is Adam and spouse. My understanding of Adam and his spouse. Now, what I'm going to be looking at firstly is he actually a prophet? And I'm going to be determining if he is a prophet or if he did his duty as a prophet. Did he pass the test? I want to then maybe go into things like, is he a community? And looking at the things of the test of life. And so this is going to be a pretty long video. And, what we can obtain from Adam, why do the angels bow, maybe even go into Iblis. So this is going to be a long video, but inshallah, you guys enjoy your journey. All right. So now I will try to put markers in here as much as possible. But truth is, guys, I like presenting my videos or anything I do in a really unprofessional way. What I mean is, I don't like it being so structured where, in the first couple of videos you would have noticed where I actually found the ayats and then I go through them and individually I'm there typing away while I do it. That's still the most structure I'll ever put into a video, because most of my videos, what I like to do is just wing it and just talk and let it come to me while it's going, and then search for it and later on add the graphics. So, salam to you all and welcome. This is the way I like. It's more of a podcast and a kickback, love the song dedication on the radio sort of thing. So enjoy, guys, and inshallah, we can all learn from this. So in regards to Adam, all right, the first thing I want to bring you guys to is my site, Organized Quran. Now, this doesn't work. This section that I'm going to show doesn't work with mobile phones because they're basically big pictures, and I am updating it. I've got all the prophets done. This is the comparative study. So actually, before I even go to the comparative study, what I'll do is I'll go to the prophet study tool so you guys can see what's available in there. So just if you guys want to learn, it shows you every single prophet's name. You'll click on Adam, for example. And then in this section, it shows you everything that has mentions, everywhere that mentions the selected person and the character and their story. So if you want to go down to, for example, Surah Kaf, you click on it, and then the green represents here in these little boxes it's mentioned that's the messenger of Allah talking. Adam is when, see the blue, that's when the actual person is mentioned. And yellow is when they, or the person who's actually, being selected, in this case Adam, is actually speaking. And then you got red as well, and purple, and so forth and so forth. So hopefully that will help you guys, because I've filtered the Quran in that way just to make it easier for everyone. However, what I wanted to show today was the comparative study. Now, again, this won't work on mobile phones, this section, but this basically helps out. Okay, this section, if say you wanted to search, yielding to Adam, then you can instantly come to this site and just, I've got all the prophets done, I should say as well, but you can instantly come here and go, yield to Adam, yield to Adam, yield to Adam, yield to Adam, yield to Adam. So they're all linked, and I've put arrows as well. So 234, 711, 2116, 1761, and 1850, instantly are all related. And it's not just 234 is related to 211. 234 actually encompasses from 711 to 718. All of that just explains that, because the last bit of this is linked here, if you can see, and the top bit of this is linked here. Now, reading the Quran in such a way and organizing it in such a way, shukr Allah for the patience. It took a long time to set it up this way. However, what happens is you get advantages to seeing it in such a unique perspective, because when you don't notice this, for example, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll explain a little bit. From 1761 to 63, right, is considered the Adam narration. And when you read it, you'll see that it's yield to Adam and it finishes with hell shall be the reward to you all. Okay? However, the next ayat in Surah Isra that comes in is 1764. And most people, and actually I would say everyone who reads the Qur'an who hasn't seen it in this perspective, will read 1764 and not connect it to the Adam narration. However, if you look carefully, it is very well the same linkage to the other surahs. The reason people will not connect 1764 to the others is because of the content within it. It talks about mobilize all your forces and men against them, and you may share with them in their money and children and promise them. So here it's talking about mobilizing all forces, men and money and children as well, and none of them were present with the Adam story. That's why most people disconnect this from the rest. However, and even if you do a search, I should say as well, you search for devil whispered and you'll probably get, Taha 20, 120 and 720. You might get 236 Baqarah 1. You will not get Isra because the search will be way off due to wording. But you can clearly see it's linked. See, everything's linked, and then it comes here and then it's linked as well. So there are advantages to looking at it this way. Now, what I want to show with the Adam story today. Okay, let's begin from... Let me take a random. Okay, we'll start from looking at Surah Taha 120, okay? But the devil whispered to turn to him. He said, O Adam, shall I lead you to the tree of immortality and a kingdom which will not waste away? Notice the words immortality and a kingdom. These are the temptations that Adam had. Okay, so immortality and a kingdom which will not waste, okay? And in this one, 720, we are told that the temptations is the bottom bit. It says, your Lord did not prohibit you from this tree except that you become an angel or you would be immortal. So here, you've got becoming an angel, tree of immortality, and kingdom. Why this is important is because clearly, all right, Adam is not in heaven, an eternal heaven. He knows, he is very much aware of death. He's offered, his temptations are angel, kingdom, and immortality, meaning he was trying to avoid death, and that's the reason he actually ate from the tree. That was the temptation of it all, to live long as possible. So he's very much aware of death, and it disproves straight away. I mean, I'm not going over to the most common ideas where they say, how can the shaitan be in heaven as well? It makes no sense. How can there actually be a test in heaven? All these don't make sense. However, very clearly, just from that, that the test of life is what Adam was risking. Okay, so that's why he was tempted. Okay, so then I'll move on. Okay, and what I want to concentrate on just this time around is Baqarah, and then we'll go back to the other ones as well, inshallah, later. But looking at Baqarah, right, it starts with, we'll start here. So 236, it says, so the devil caused them to slip from it, and he brought them out from what they were in. And we said, descend, for you are enemies to one another, and the earth you will have residence and provisions until the appointed time. Now, this bit here where it says, descend, for you are enemies to one another, it is mentioned in 724 and 2123. This, because it is a plural, most translators, or most people, most ideas around this suggest that people think it's Adam, his spouse, and possibly the shaitan being removed from that state because it's a plural. So they're thinking it's more than, it's a couple. Descend from you who enemies to one another. So they're saying, or it could be just Adam and his spouse. So that's the way it's translated here. I'm not going to argue with that one. Okay. What I want to show you guys is the next ayat. Okay. So if you read 237, so here we find clearly in all of them is they're being removed. Okay. So we just Adam and his spouse. Let's just say it's Adam and his spouse. We won't even say it's a shaitan. Just Adam and his spouse being removed. Okay. The next ayat says, Adam then received words from his Lord, so he forgave him. He is a forgiver, the merciful. So here, Adam, the next ayat, we clearly see he was received these words and he was from his Lord and he forgave him. Okay, so he made a mistake, it was forgiven, and he got words. So here he's being given something for some reason. Okay, and the very next ayat after that says, 238, we said, descend from it, all of you. All of you. Here, Adam has already been removed. Here, Adam and his, we said his spouse, Adam and his spouse have been given words. And then here it says, again, descend from it, all of you. So when the guidance comes from me, then whoever follows my guidance, they will have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. Therefore, Adam has received revelation of some sort here, okay? And the next one, descend from here, all of you, cannot be Adam and his spouse anymore. It must be another population. It must be those in the community of Adam. So straight out, you can clearly see in the Qur'an, I don't know why people haven't seen this more often, but you can clearly see in the Qur'an that there is people afterwards. So when you look at, if you look at Surah Taha, you would not see this because the Adam bit is missing. The Adam receiving the words is missing from in between him actually slipping and getting removed and receiving the guidance. Surah Taha, you can't see this. However, you can see it clearly in Surah Baqarah in 237 that Adam received words and then they were removed. So this straight away, you know that there is a community of Adam and his people. Now, why is Adam special then? Is because Adam was the first person to actually complete Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So what I mean by that was Adam was the first person to have the decision of choosing between right and wrong. He was the first person to actually obtain intelligence, which I'm going to go over later in the video. But he was the first person to obtain intelligence and commit a sin, do something wrong against his own intelligence, and found mercy. So he was born in a Rahman state where all he was doing was learning, thanking Allah, beneficent in that sense, and then committed a sin and was the first person to find mercy. Now, even though I'm saying all this, what I want to get to is he an actual prophet? Because he has received words, and then we find that the next ayat says that, follow my guidance, and the guidance, it says, so when the guidance comes from me, then whoever follows my guidance, this referring to what Adam received here. So there he has received something and he has to deliver it, okay? Was he an actual prophet? But can we call Adam a prophet? Now, is him actually completing the Bismillah ar-Rahim actually enough for him to be considered a prophet? Now, what I want to take you guys to is what comes straight after here in Surah Taha 2:124. I haven't put it on this comparative study because I didn't know how people would take what comes afterwards, so I actually left it off there. But there is a continuation of the Adam narration. It doesn't end in Taha. So I'll go to Taha 124. So that's the last one there. So we know that what the story has happened, so I'm not going to go through the story again, but Adam's been removed, yada, yada, yada. And then 2:124 is whoever turns away from my remembrance, then indeed for him lies strengthened, and so forth. And then 2:125 is where it gets important. Now 2:125, it begins by saying, he will say, my Lord, why you raised me blind while I had sight? This he will say, okay? Firstly, I'll show you guys something. Every translator says he will say, they will cry, will ask, not even close. He will say, okay, so it's always he will say, he will say. I think monotheistic religion is the only translation that he will ask, he will say. Yeah, the monotheistic group is the only one that said he said. See? It's actually Kala. And Kala, you can see there, Kala, it is he said. It's not he will say, it is he said. If this is Kala, then it means that this, where we're going to go back, this color in 201.25 would be the only color in the Quran where it doesn't actually identify a character. It's not. It would be the only he said. It would be This would be the only generic he said in the Quran, while every other character is identified. So this he said, and who will raise me blind, is talking about Adam. Okay, he's done something wrong. He's received the words, and then he's forgotten again. All right. So, and then it continues to say, thus came to your signs, but you forgot them, and thus today you will be forgotten. Now, he's not actually punished like everyone else, where he's thrown into hellfire. However, he's given it seems to be a weaker sentence of just being forgotten. Now, Adam being the first person, this does make sense to me in the sense that Adam was the first person to be created in a perfectly balanced way to decide. Him being forgotten means his purpose could have only been to complete the Bismillah Rahman Rahim, to bring us the words of mercy, for us to be born in beneficent, and then bring us the words of mercy. His beginning was bringing the balance, and therefore maybe him being forgotten could be a good means to his ending. Instead of actually, he doesn't pass and he doesn't fail. He is the balance. Now, please, guys, go over that and look at the Adam story. Read from Surah Taha, the Adam story, and you'll see clearly that Adam is the one who actually is being born blind. Now, the next topic I'm going to cover is possibility of the mistake that Adam and his spouse actually made. That the reason that they were removed, where he's not actually called a prophet. And so I'll take you guys to 7:189, and it talks about the created from the single soul, a soul single and made from its mate, and he might live with her, and when he covers her, she carries a burden light and continues with it. Okay, so here it's talking about the first soul, and then she's actually become pregnant. So everyone translated, because it's talking about the first soul, everyone regularly translates this to being Adam and his spouse and the first pregnancy. But when she grows heavy, they both invoke Allah, their Lord. If you give us righteous child, surely we will be among the thankful. So they ask Allah for a rightly child. And as I said, most people translate this to mean Adam and his spouse. If it is Adam and his spouse, okay, the next ayat says, 7:190, but when he gives them a good child, they make for him partners in what he has given them, but exalted is Allah above what they associate him with. And then it keeps going. They associate what not created anything, keeps going from there. Therefore, if this is translated as to be Adam and his spouse, and then 7:190 could be the reason that he was born blind, because it seems as if they've gone against the track. Now, in regards to 7:189 and being born from a single soul, I'll make you aware of 7:189, where it says he is the one, where they actually believe this is Adam and his spouse, but he is the one who created you from a soul single and made from it its mate that he might live with her. Now, the word for soul, nafs, here is feminine, and the word for single is feminine, and maid is feminine, and mate is feminine. Now, I'll show you guys actually another ayat as well, and the other ayats as well, guys, I should say, is 39:6 if you want to look as well, but I'm just going to show you guys 4:1, which is the other place where it talks about single soul as well. Okay, so here in 4:1 it talks about, O mankind, fear your Lord, the one who created you from a soul single, and created from it its mate, and dispersed from both of them many men and women. Now, everything, as I said before, as the same as Surah 7:189, it's in the feminine form. And the ayats that actually mention Rajalan, the men and women, so men and women, they're used separately. This means that I believe that the word used for soul is on purpose. Nafsin in the feminine gender is deliberate, because we all come from female, not male. Now, this is looking a bit from a different perspective, and there will be a lot who argue and say, no, we came from men, not from women. However, it seems because of the feminine gender, and only because of the wording, and maybe I'm looking into it too far, but there is something in science called the mitochondrial Eve. And for those who don't know what the mitochondrial Eve is, it's that the most recent woman from whom all living humans descend comes from an unbroken line purely through their mothers and through their mothers' mothers and mothers, and you can prove it back until it all stems back to one woman. So it seems as if maybe this ayat could be talking about that. Maybe, and I said as well, I'm looking into the grammar too much and the syntax too much, and I've just gone too far into it. But it is definitely in the feminine form, especially mate, which made me think, how can it actually be that we came from Adam when it seems to me the other way around? Now, also looking at the fact of single, that's just that's just something I'm throwing out there. I'm not actually very firm about the idea, but it's just something I thought I'd throw in there. But I'll look at something else regarding single souls and souls in general. Okay, so I'll turn to Baqarah and we'll go to 187. So here it says in 187, and I won't read for you, but it's talking about going to your I should turn the search off, sorry. It talks about going to your wife and, that he's forgiven you and that you may approach them. So he's forgiven you, so now you may release them and seek for what. Here we go. So here it says that, so have relations with them and seek what has ordained Allah for you. Okay, so what Allah has ordained for you is what you should seek with your soulmate. Now, why is this important? I'll show you guys another one as well. We'll go to, I'm pretty sure it's 222. And they ask you about menstruation. It is. And then it says, then come to them from where has ordered you Allah. So again, come to them from where ordered Allah. So, and I'll go to another one as well. I'm off the top of my head, 235. I can't believe I got it right. Okay. So 235 as well is the same sort of thing. However, this one's a little bit different, and I'll explain where I'm getting at after I explain this, so you guys can understand why I showed the other two ayats in Baqarah as well. Now, it starts by, and there is no blame upon you in what you hint of marriage proposal to the woman, or you conceal in yourselves. Know Allah that you will mention them, but do not promise them secretly, except that you say a saying honorable. And then it says, and do not resolve the knot of marriage until it reaches the prescribed term, its end. Now, this prescribed term, its end, do apologize for the background noise, I'm screaming again. So, let's go to the word for word. Okay, so we'll go to the word for word just so you guys can see. It actually says with the prescribed, and I'll move it straight to the end. It says, the prescribed term until reaches the prescribed term, its end. Okay, so al-kitab, ajallahu, its end, meaning its decree, its final. It means appointed, specified, the period. It's the end. Okay, so until the book reaches the end. Therefore, taking into other surahs, ayats that I gave you in Baqarah as well, one says in the menstruation one, it says, go to them, approach them when God has commanded you. In 187, I showed you where it says what God has, and seek them what God has written for you. And this one says, do not break an honorable marriage until the book ends. Now, the book encompasses all, from start of time to the end of space. So this ayat could be applying that when two pair people marry and they're honorable to each other, they could be considered soulmates, where Allah doesn't actually, where He gives you commandments to go to them. Go to what has been written to you. Go to what has been commanded to you. And here, do not end the marriage until the book ends. So keep it going as long as you possibly can. So that's looking into the whole idea that maybe, possibly, Qur'an is saying that you do have, possibly out there, a soulmate. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back into the topic of Adam again. That was a little bit of a distraction, but I think it was worth it. But into the story of Adam again. And this time what I'm going to look at, okay, is what happened before here where they had to yield to Adam. So I went from the back to show you that he wasn't alone. And then we're going to before and why they actually bowed or prostrated or showed their respects to Adam. Okay? I'll start here at 2:30. And your Lord said to the angels, I am placing a successor on the earth. They said, will you place in it he who make corruption in it and spill blood while we praise you by your glory and exalt it to you? He said, I know what you do not know. Now here the angels, even though they've been told by Allah to prostrate, to bow, to show respects to Adam, they question. And what we know from our studies and what we've been taught our whole entire lives, that angels don't question. Allah says they do. Allah says they do. However, here they are saying, why should we bow down to one, make corruption and spill blood? Now, are they talking about the future? Adam hasn't committed the sin yet. Look, Adam commits the sin all the way down here. So Adam hasn't committed a sin yet. What are they talking about? Who are they talking about if it's not Adam? And it's pretty obvious what they are. They have seen, the only plausible explanation is they have seen creatures that resemble Adam, and from those creatures, all they saw was corruption and spilling blood. That's all they'll do. They were animal instinct creatures. So we are Homo sapiens, meaning modern wise man, and they are just Homo sapiens, and maybe Nethenderans and so forth. So the angels witnessed these other creatures, and from that made the assumption that we're going to do the same and cause mischief and shed blood. They don't know the future because they say in 2:32, glory to you, we have no knowledge except that which you have taught us. You are the knowledgeable, the wise. So they don't have knowledge of the future, so they can't know that this corruption and blood is related to us, even though we haven't committed a sin, which is still down here. So from that, they made the assumption, and I would say as well, just quickly in regards to evolution, it is very immature to deny evolution in the Qur'an. I mean, Qur'an says every living thing was made from water. It says about Adam and Isa that they are the same. They were made from dirt, not just a miracle. It didn't just miraculously appear. So denying evolution in any sense is, denying the science that the Qur'an does give in many, many places as well. I don't deny evolution. The only reason people deny evolution is because the whole concept that we cannot come from apes. Now, this Adam being this new breed of person that showed intelligence, enough intelligence for angels to bow down to, to show him respect and think, this guy is worthy of bowing down because he spoke. That's the only reason they bow down. Look, and inform them of their names. In 2:33 is where he informed them of the names, and then they yielded to Adam. However, when Allah asked, without showing them that he had intelligence, they were not willing to bow down to him. Now, Adam's development here is very important in the times of history. Okay, so around 12,000 to 15,000 years ago, based on evidence, is when the first modern wise man started appearing. Now, what I mean by modern wise man is there is a couple of factors that modern distinguishes between the Homo sapiens and the Homo sapiens sapiens. Modern wise man firstly started using tools to much of a higher degree than any other animal. Like monkeys can figure out, for example, simple things, but we started actually getting tools and developing them for particular purposes. Then in the 12 to 15,000 years ago, it's also evident that we started building fires. So it shows that we had preparation and maintenance. And with the fires as well, also it's obvious from that period in history that we started cooking our food, and maybe it's because of the warmth or something that we felt because of the fires, but we're the only known species from 12 to 15,000 years ago that have known to be covering themselves. So looking at these four things of the modern human being compared to what they had before, there is a big difference. Now, you'll see from depictions in science and evidence, and anyone who actually depicts one of these our ancestral cousins, right? you'll see that they always suggest false evidence about these. What I mean is, every time they depict our past ancestors, they'll show them as one being extremely hairy, even though we know from what we know from Aborigines and Africans, the oldest people to be living on Earth, that they were hairless. They were pretty hairless. Like, they don't grow hair follicles as much as possible, as much as we think they did. So they were hairless, and their nose pattern is always very, very different. They're more pushed in to make it look ape-like. However, this cartilage in the nose, and if you also taken the removal of the hair and bring them more to a Aboriginal or a African state, you'll see that the humans that they're trying to portray in these depictions are actually, they're more human than ape. And that's what they want you to believe. Science wants you to believe that it's, I think they're trying to throw theology off, but they're trying to make you think it's more ape than more human. But change the cartilage, remove the hair, like we can see from what we can study from our oldest ancestors to exist, and you've got a humanoid appearance. Now, what I'm going to look at now is the test of life, when the actual test of life begins. And after all this, I'm going to, inshallah, I'm going to incorporate this whole thing into a bigger understanding, so you guys can understand what we should learn from this situation, from the Adam story narration. So to find this, I'll go to 235, and it says, and we said, "Oh Adam, reside you and your mate." So Adam and his mate are here, okay? Still in the blissful state. Again, Adam, reside with your mate, still in the blissful state. When I'm saying blissful state, I mean there is no test as of yet. See, "Oh Adam, reside with your new mate." "Oh Adam, reside with your new mate." The test has not been invented yet. Once the mate is introduced, and only once the mate is introduced, that is when we find, "And do not approach this tree, but do not approach this tree," and so forth and so forth. So the test begins after your mate. Now, why is this important? Okay. Firstly, it means that I should remind you as well that the Iblis was removed for pride. In the Qur'an, it constantly says that Iblis was removed for pride. Him being removed for, it doesn't say anything else. It doesn't say he was removed because it was bad or when it gets to Allah. It says pride. Now, Adam could not be proud by himself. Okay? So once a second person is introduced, the mate is introduced, then Adam or his spouse have the ability of being proud and over, stepping their boundaries. Before that, then Adam didn't have this knowledge of being proud. There's no need to be proud, but to show off or to be, get a bit more then, or to continue on life, then he was proud, and then the tree of life began. The test of life began. Now, the way I see the Adam story, okay, and inshallah you guys understand, I see us as all of us, because everything in the Quran, basically we are recycling through its pages, okay? So it wouldn't mention the story of Ibrahim if you're not going to take something out of Ibrahim that you can use in your daily life, and you can't be tested on the story of Ibrahim if it hasn't been incorporated into your daily life. Same with Noah, same with Musa, same with Isa, same with every story you have in the Quran is based around your own life. So you're supposed to take from their examples and learn. The Adam story, the way I see the Adam story, is we are all born as we are here in a pure state. We're grown, absorbing everything around us and making informed decisions between right and wrong. Actually, not even just learning, and sponges to life, and we're everything we need. We're gaining knowledge, and we don't really realize where good and bad, the difference between. We do know there is a good and bad. We're taught that very young age. Like is good and bad taught to us? No. I mean, think about a baby, right? And if a baby is, you hurt a baby, don't hurt babies. If you hurt a baby, then the baby will start crying. Now, the baby's cry will know eventually, you don't have to teach the baby, but it will know that pain inflicted upon itself is something that it doesn't want to inflict upon another. And if you don't hurt babies, but if you slap yourself, for example, in front of a baby in a sad and in a joyful way, just to muck around, the baby will know it's a joke. It will know the difference between a violent slap of yourself or someone else and a jokey slap of someone else. So babies know this. You don't have to teach this. This is inbuilt within our system. So I see ourselves as all these absorbing these knowledges from around us as we're children, and we're not tested because we don't understand the decisions or the consequences in the sight of our Allah, not our parents. And we don't, because we don't understand, then we're not actually tested on them. Then this also means, because Adam shows that he has intelligence, and then the test of life begins. That means that here, I was pointing at the wrong spot. It means that someone who is handicapped or lacks the ability, the mental capacity, it cannot be tested, because once you have that, can go through that childlike state and absorb everything, then you get to the next stage, which means you have to have the ability to comprehend. In fact, what I see is no other creature besides men and jinn in the Qur'an that seem to be in this test. So this also means that the up to here is when the test of our puberty begins, when the opposite sex is introduced. And once the opposite sex is introduced and the sexual connotation, and this is like at the same time in our life where we start using our prefrontal cortex rather than our amygdala. The amygdala is apparently, I don't know too much about the brain, but I do know these words. The amygdala is considered the inner part where you use your gut feeling and to make decisions. So this is what you do as when you're growing up. However, it changes to the prefrontal cortex in your puberty stage, making you change to make rational, calculated decisions more than your gut feelings. So this could also mean that the sufficient age for marriage or legal contract handles everything, and they must be of sound mind and at an age where they know the difference between right and wrong, and the test of life will begin then. So you can't marry young children off in any way because they're not mature enough to understand what they're getting themselves into. Okay, so now to a final subject, and I want to show you guys my understanding of what Iblis is. And the way I'm going to do that is show you guys. So I've already shown in this video, mashallah, I've already shown 1764 is connected to the Adam story that most people won't realize. I've also shown that after 2124 in Surah Taha, it continues on to talk about going who will be raised blind. So we've covered that. I've spoken about the guidance that Adam received. And so there's a lot of topics I've covered. However, now the next one I want to look at is what comes before 1760, Isra 1760. Now this is very, very important because, sorry, my computer's breathing really loud. It's just having a good day. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but if I go to 1760, okay, and if we read, I'll start from 59 because most people, I'm not going to read 59, but most people tend to relate 1760 to 1759 because it talks about Thamud and the she-camel. So it says actually, you know what, I will read it just so no one is confused. 1759, and not stopped us that we send these signs except that denied them the former people. And we gave Thamud the she-camel as a visible sign, but they wronged her, and not we send the sign except as a warning. Okay? And then the next ayat, 1760 says, and when we said to you, indeed your Lord has encompassed the mankind, not we made the vision which we showed you except a trial for mankind, and the tree the accursed in the Qur'an. And we threaten them, but not it increases them in them except transgression great. Okay, so what the current translation of 1760 and the tree accursed in the Qur'an, they relate this to the Thamud story. However, there's nowhere else in the Thamud story where this tree comes up. Now, there is the people of the woods that it mentions at one stage, but it's very indirect. So it could be related to that. However, if we look at it the other way, instead of looking at it upways and trying to relate it to the one above, look at it as related to the one below. And you see, we just read that out. So it says, and the tree, the accursed in the Qur'an, and we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam. Look, so it's more related to this one. And so they prostrated except Iblis. And then it talks about a tree that they approached. So it goes on from here to, if you can see that it's quite clear that the tree, the cursed in the Quran, is not talking about a tree from that era, but it's talking about a tree from the story below. So I'll go to another ayat as well so you guys can see. Inshallah, you guys can see. So I'll start at 15 and we'll work our way from there. And so 15:35. Now, what I'm going to show is we have a cursed tree in the Quran that's mentioned just before a narration where it mentions a tree. Now, what I'm going to show with this ayat is the fact that what else is cursed in the Quran that we know of? And we know that, and indeed upon your Lord would be the curse till the day of judgment is Iblis. Iblis is cursed till the day of judgment. And then my Lord respite me. Then indeed, then give me respite till the day they are raised. He said, then indeed you are of the ones given respite. So Iblis is definitely cursed as well. There's also 39. It says, Iblis says, because my Lord, because you misled me, surely I'll make evil to them in the earth and I will mislead them all. So it says that in 39. And I'm pretty sure it says in 7 as well, which we had in the other one, but I'll actually go to it from here. 7:16 over here. Shaitan said, because you have sent me astray. So Allah, he said, blaming Allah, surely I will sit for them on your straight path. Now what he says as well, guys, while I'm here, it's very important. He says, surely I will come to them from between their hands and from behind them and from their right and their left, and not you will find most of them grateful. So here when he says between their hands, it means, in the Quran, after the word Allah, the most repeated word is ilm, which means knowledge, science, intellect, intuition, and so forth. So gaining intuition. So between hands means that Iblis is actually saying he's going to attack us not just from idols and all these things, but between hands means through knowledge he's going to attack us as well. So it's very important to see that there in Surah 7:16, but in 7:17 I should say, but back to 7:16 it says, because you have sent me astray. So Iblis is blaming Allah and he's going to wait for him in the straight path, so he's cursed. So we know that he's cursed here. So we know that the tree is cursed and Iblis is cursed, and the tree of Zakum is made to burn in the midst of hell, and so is Iblis. But what I'll start, before showing you the midst of hell and the tree of Zakum, I want to show you guys that it actually exists, the tree of Zakum, within the day of judgment. So if you go to 56:52, here it is. We will surely eat from the tree of Zakum. We'll surely eat from the tree of Zakum. Then we'll fill with it the bellies and drink over it the scalding water, and will drinking of the thirsty camel, this their hospitality on the day of judgment. See, here it says that the tree of Zakum is present on the day of judgment. This is different to Surah 37, where it says, Surah 37, 62 to 65, I'm pretty sure. Please, I'm a gun today. On the ball. Is that better hospitality or the tree of Zakum? Indeed, we have made it a trial for the wrongdoers. Indeed, it is a tree that grows in the bottom. It's the bottom of hell. And it's emerging fruits as if it was the heads of devils. So this also shows that the Iblis and devils are two separate things. Iblis is the tree and the devils are its fruits that tempt to the tree. That's why in the Adam story in the Quran, there's nowhere where they actually ate the tree, but they're tempted towards the tree if you keep reading it. But however, here, back to the topic, it's the tree of Zakum is in hell fire. Okay? And 44, I'm pretty sure as well. SubhanAllah, I wish I remember this one. It is 44. It is 44. I remember this. So, yep, there it is. Indeed, the tree of Zakum will be food of the sinners like the murky oil. It will boil in the bellies like the boiling, scalding water. Seize him and drag him in the midst of the hellfire. So here again, it is tree of Zakum is within hell. So what we know is, again, just to go over the thing again, we know that the tree is cursed and we know that Iblis is cursed. Now we know that the tree is made to burn in the midst of hell and will be present on that day. We know Iblis will be present on that day and is made of fire. So, and then we know also from 1760, clearly in 1760, one story flows from the other where it talks about a tree. It talks about a tree here. And then of being cursed in the Qur'an, and then straight into the story of the tree where they were tempted to. Okay? So basically what I see this to mean, what is Iblis and what is the temptation? And I'll end it after this as well, guys. So basically, the fruits of the shaitans of Iblis, they're our bad thoughts and they're what's within us. So because we've been given us good, with every good you must be given the bad to understand the good. That's why when Adam was given knowledge, the intelligence, he then was given at the same time the unintelligence, and the test begins. You can't be provided something without having the equal and opposite to understand and appreciate it. So when I see Adam as actually talking to what is shaitan considered, I see that is Adam actually speaking to himself. When it talks about in the Qur'an, the shaitan, I believe that's ourselves talking to us. Iblis is the negative, but shaitan is different to Iblis. Shaitan is the fruits that tempt towards negative. Okay? What is Iblis? Iblis in the Qur'an is justified. The only trait we know it has is being proud. Iblis was removed for being proud. Therefore, what I see, Iblis and Adam and the whole story, and I'm going to end it here, is Adam was removed for sinning, okay? And Iblis was removed for being proud. Adam, for sinning, asked for mercy. Iblis did not because he was proud. So we know that if you do sin, you can ask for mercy. However, if you don't ask for mercy, it is a greater sin. So I believe personally, and I end here, guys, I believe personally that the greatest sin on earth is to actually be proud of your sin like Iblis was. Instead of accepting you made a mistake, is to actually boast that you made a mistake is the greatest sin for me. People say that shirk is not, sometimes they say shirk is, Allah says in the Quran, He doesn't forgive shirk. I'm still debating that with myself, because if you look at it, then the Queen of Sheba was, she did shirk. And she must have been forgiven. And Ibrahim even did shirk as well. And, he took the sun and the moon and the planets as his Lord, and they faded away. So you can't say that the little to shirk can't be forgiven. Whereas the idea that your greatest sin and being proud of your sin and boasting about your sin is the greatest sin is actually a better concept than saying that shirk is the only thing that can't be forgiven. Okay, so guys, thank you guys for listening. I've lost my voice, and inshallah, I went through a couple of topics. There's still some more topics about Adam I haven't even mentioned, but alhamdulillah, I think it was a good video. So leave me some comments. Assalamu